Gay pride parades. They've been happening for years. They used to be about making it so that there was marriage equality between heterosexual couples and homosexual couples. Flags with these colors were waved. But for years now, gay marriage has been legal in every state of the United States of America. Yet, these parades have not stopped. Now, why did I throw those colored pencils like an item into the trash can? It is because I believe that's what gay pride parades are now. They've served their purpose, we should discard them. And it's about more than just that homosexual marriage is legal. There are other reasons why these parades have no place in our society anymore, and in some ways never did. Now, before you misjudge me, misaccuse me of being the biggest homophobe ever, let's get some facts out there. Number one is that I know some homosexual people have overall behaved better than some heterosexual people. I'll share with you two very important cases of heterosexual people who've behaved worse than most, if not all, homosexual people. Number one is Sir Adolf Hitler. He was heterosexual. And Sir Ted Bundy is another case, who got extinguished early for some very inappropriate heterosexual behavior. But just like not being responsible for their crimes isn't something to be proud of, just being gay or lesbian is not something to be proud of. It's harder to cross a room than to be gay or lesbian. Now, let's have a reasonable perspective on the thing called pride, to feel proud of something. It's when, and I'm thinking millions, if not over 2 billion people agree with me here, if you're feeling proud of something, you've actually done something to earn that feeling of pride. One once told me, good things in life, they come with hard work. So I made this little tank out of cardboard, and the turret can be rotated 360 degrees. The chain gun can be rotated 360 degrees. The optic here can be rotated 360 degrees, and also 361 degrees because you can just turn it one more degree. The chain gun can be rotated up and down. The barrel here with the bore evacuator can be turned up and down, but not that much more than 30 degrees, if even 30 degrees, but hey, it's a first. The point is, does even a tenth of the work to make this go into deciding to be gay or lesbian? The answer is no, okay? Now I'm gonna head into some very foggy air and almost come across as attacking my own stance here. Hey, gay and lesbian people have actually stood for their rights, constitutional rights, and maybe through all that dedication and expended energy to fight for those rights, the right to marry, the right to be gay and lesbian, I understand they think they can be proud of that. And we're gonna head to the part where I err on the side of caution when it comes to that attitude and things start to make sense. And to do that, we're going back to the 1960s. Isn't this groovy? In the civil rights movement, with Martin Luther King Jr. at the tip of the spear, it was about guaranteeing, or at least trying to guarantee, equal rights between the colored humans and the white humans. That's a noble cause. A Nobel cause. Now, we're going to compare the civil rights movement side by side with legalizing gay and lesbian marriage. Let's begin. The civil rights movement offered a higher marginal social and political return for the American people than legalizing gay and lesbian marriage. It was about guaranteeing, or at least trying to guarantee, equality in education, the water fountains, the bathrooms, and being able to shop at a place. At least public education when it came to public education, desegregation. It made it so that white and colored people saw each other more often and were forced to face each other, face the truth, that they were in the same country. They were in the same states. They were going to be directly or indirectly associated with each other as adults. They're going to have to communicate. They might as well be integrated in the schools while they're growing up. And I've got to say, that sounds very important. Gay and lesbian people were already subject to getting a public education. They already could go to stores to get food. They didn't have to sit in the back of a bus. And those things were not winnables for some gay pride movement because they were already givens. So what did the gays and lesbians win? The right to marry and have their couplehood legitimized in the eyes of the law. Constitutional? Yes. But compared to the civil rights movement, how proud should you really be? Not very. We can also compare pride parades to the parades that happened after the end of World War II in the United States. When American troops came home, they got parades. And how long did they last? Not very long. In fact, we don't have them anymore. We haven't had them in the 1980s. We didn't have them in the 1960s. I don't think we even had them in the 1950s. Gee golly, they were in the mid-late 40s and then they were over. Gay people have had way too long of a parade span for something that's so much smaller than winning World War II. You know what was in World War II? It was a manufacturing golden age for the United States. And two evil empires were obliterated. The gay rights movement doesn't have even half that satisfaction, does it? So now I have a question on the tip of my tongue. Why, if the gay rights movement was smaller than the awesomeness of winning World War II, did the gay rights movement get so many more parades over a longer span of time than the World War II veterans got after winning World War II? And the answer is, sometimes things just don't make sense. And free speech gives people permission to not make sense. But it also gives people like me permission to call out nonsense. Thanks for watching this episode of Cullen's Brain. My name is Bob. Right, the name of the show. So now remember, my name's Cullen, and this is going to be the end of the video where I might or might not have some kind of end screen suggestion for people who've watched up until now.